Hey you guys, Dani here. I want to do something fun today. And I've been thinking about this for a while because I get these types of questions quite a bit. And I'm sure as you saw from the title of this video, I want to talk about ways to get to know your deck, how to bond with your deck. And I don't want to continue saying deck because then it starts to sound strange. Okay. How to get to know your cards. There we go. Anyway, so there's a lot of different ways. There are many ways that I've done it myself, that I've learned through others, that I've kind of gathered over the years. And I wanted to compile a list and share that with you guys. And it's a pretty long list. And I wanted to go through each one of them. So we're going to start out today with something pretty basic, but a lot of fun. And because this is, I wanted something light and airy. So we are going to go with, are y'all ready? Tarot of the Magical Forest. So, if you guys followed 3 Fat Readers, we talked about this deck. Well, Dustin talked about this deck, and he loves this deck, and he really made Lisa and I want this deck really bad. So, our sweet Barb sent over, she had extra copies of Tarot of the Magical Forest, so she sent one over, and I am thrilled. I am utterly thrilled to have this in my hands. So thank you so much, Barb. I really appreciate it. I'm super pumped to get to know this deck. So I was like, perfect timing. I want to dive in. So why not do it with you guys and with this new little deck? Oh, it's so fun. I'm so ready. So let's go super basic with this one. Right, starting out with, how do I jump into learning a new deck? So when I open the deck, the first thing I do is a quick flip through. So let's take it to the desk and we will do that together, and I will elaborate on these first few ways to start bonding with your deck. So like I said, we're gonna start super basic. Out the box, what am I going to do to start bonding with this deck? And my first thing, of course, this is out of order because I've been shuffling for a while, which we'll get into that as well. But the very first thing that I do is just look at my cards. Just see what's going on. I don't do anything too in-depth this first look. I'm just taking it all in, right? Kind of analyzing it at first glance, right? Is it an RWS? How are they making me feel? Is there an overall tone? You know, just taking it in, enjoying the deck, taking some time to flip through. If I have some, you know, some that I really want to take a look at, like I'll stop and I'll check out all the details, but I don't spend an incredible amount of time in first glance doing that kind of like nitpicky kind of stuff. But, you know, some cards just catch you that way and you're like, oh, what's this? Oh, okay, that's really cool. So I don't pop out the guidebook. I don't do any of that right away. I just enjoy the cards first. So like this, he's got this like book in his hand and it's like a little bunny. And so that's got me curious. So I make a mental note, like, oh, I'm going to want to check that out, right? You just allow the art to kind of speak to you here. I love how they're still kind of like wide-eye and surprised, like they're looking around. Like bunnies do, I guess. She's my favorite. Oh my god, I love her. Okay, anyway. So yeah, I just take in this art and just make sure that I look at every one and just kind of get an overall feel of the vibe of the deck, right? because every deck has their own unique energy to it, right? And so I just kind of take that in at first glance. So then I kind of dive deeper. And I got this, oh my gosh, it had to have been 7 or 8 years ago, I'm thinking. By now, oh my gosh. I snagged a copy of the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud ages ago, right? Sorry, absent-mindedly shuffling. Anyway, and the guidebook is fantastic on that oracle. And there was a exercise that they talked about in that guidebook that since then I have adopted to almost every deck that I choose to sit and study and bond with, like on a deeper level. I've done it with every deck thus far. And it is one of my favorite things to do. And that is kind of separate my cards into ones that I like, ones that I love, right? Like, oh my god, these might be the favorite ones. So I make a pile for those, ones that I like, and ones that I don't really care for. Now, that's not saying anything. It's not that I don't like it. It's just like, at first glance, I'm like, I don't really care for that, right? So let's go through this, and I'll make my 3 piles. The ones that I love, the ones that I like, and the ones that I don't really care for. You know, they don't really spark me. So let's do that. And now I don't think too much, just gut reaction. We're talking gut reactions here. So we're just going to go through this. I'm not going to think too much. And I'm just gonna flip through. And a lot of times I'm just like, oh yeah, this is fine. You know what I mean? This is fine for me. Okay, so from here, what I do is I put aside these neutral ones, and then I come through and I take a look at all of my favorites, and then I kind of try to pick out my ultimate favorite, right? Just as I'm going. This one better than this one. Oh my gosh, this is hard. Okay, okay. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I love both of these so hard. But I think I'm gonna go with the Queen of Wands. Okay, so this is my favorite card. This is my favorite one. Okay, so now let's take a look at the ones that were just like, oh, I don't know if I like that too much. Okay, so I just think this one just kind of gets in my face, and I'm like, but I'm not a fan of little piggies, so I love Miss Piggy. But I don't know. I feel like I like all the other animals a little bit more than these pig characters for whatever reason. And maybe that's that Animal Farm kind of vibe for me. Like, pigs personified always make me think of the pigs in Animal Farm, and it creeps me out. So I think that might be what it is. Now, this looked a little cartoon, like, I mean, obviously they're cartoon. They're, you know, animals, whatever. But, like, it made me think more of a clown than the outfit that the guy had on. But, I mean, it's not terrible. Neither is this one, obviously, but I'm okay with this. Again, I think these are just, like, whoa in my face. But I'm going to go with the piggy because he makes me feel uncomfortable. He makes me feel uncomfortable. Okay. Okay. So, I got him. Got him. So, I have my 2 cards chosen. My favorite card. My least favorite card. So, what I'd like to do from here, just because I want to find out the best part, you know, the quickest connection with this deck, and the first initial gut reaction of like discontentment with this deck, right? Like, oh, I don't know if I like that. So then from here, I'm gonna grab the little guidebook. Okay, so I want to read about both of these. So let's do that together. We're just gonna do this whole process together. That's the whole point of this anyway. Okay, family of frogs. So, I'm gonna read, let's just read this together, right? Why not? The family of frogs represents the most imaginative and creative creatures you can meet. They are responsible for discovering the mysteries of life and to sow and cultivate the plants of the enchanted forest. Together with the bunnies, they preside over engagements and weddings because it is said that they particularly enjoy the joys of sex. They also love to invent and organize games for the entire community. They are green, and their symbol is a branch that they use for support and sometimes for play. Humans call them wands and associate them with their imagination, creativity, sexuality, and life energy. And then for our little queen, it says, feel the joy of living. So I love that, and I love how they tie all of this in together with the whole suit and kind of tie the suits together. What are the bunnies? Are the bunnies cups? Yeah, the bunnies are cups. Chalices. Okay. Anyway, so we have our little queen. Now let's read about the emperor. The little pig takes his role as emperor of the forest very seriously. All the animals expect him to administer his power appropriately, wisely, justly, generously, and resolutely. Above all, they want this territory to be protected and conserved. Climb the 4 steps of supremacy and keep our world safe and sound. Again, this like gives me those Animal Farm vibes, right? Like, the word supremacy is a big like boom, so that kind of goes along with my gut reaction of this pig, is that like personified, like kind of scary concept, right? He's taken over the farm. He's supposed to be good and preserve things, but there's something behind his eyes that tells me like he might not. He might just go crazy. So those are my 2 cards. So what am I going to do from here? What does that mean as far as bonding with this deck is concerned? Well, I like to sit with these. I usually journal about these cards, like considering and reflecting upon like what makes me love this so much, right? What makes me love this card so much? Is it the tones? Yes. It is a pretty muted palette, which is a big thing for me, which is another reason why I kind of enjoy this whole deck in general. But it ticks that off for me. She's cute as shit, right? Like, she's so cute. I love her little eyes and the way that her face is. She's kind of set in this smile, and I can feel these vibes. I can feel that joy of life. She's got her little sunflower, but then she's got the cat beside her, which reminds me of my little cat Violet. So like automatically I'm like, oh, I can see me sitting here, right? And I'm usually a Queen of Cups kind of girl, but I'm telling you, this Queen of Wands is everything to me. And now that I know that they mention sexuality, I can't help but kind of see this like phallic symbol there, which also gives way to that like passion and sexuality in general. So it also really fits there for me in the imagery. I'm not sure if that was meant to do that, but it sparked it anyway. So I will sit with this and like, what makes me love it, right? Kind of go through all those things. What boxes does it tick for me? What does it make me feel? And it just makes me feel really happy and excited, right? It makes me really want to work with this deck because I have the ability to work with this card and work with these characters. It really develops that for me, right? So then I go on to my least favorite. And I think about that one as a whole in general too. Is it something about the imagery that I don't care for? And what is that? For me, it's his face, and especially his mustache. Like, it's just one of those little features that makes me feel uncomfortable. So why does it make me feel uncomfortable? Well, right off the bat, like I said, it makes me think of Animal Farm, where the pigs kind of take over and become these like humanoid characters and then start wreaking havoc on the community. And I feel like it's really interesting that those are the vibes I get from this emperor, which is a very powerful and authoritative figure. And again, we're bringing from the guidebook the word supremacy, that like it feels so absolute. Like that word is so absolute that it just brings all these things up for me, right? So what can this challenge me with? Like, how can I be challenged by this card in a good way? And maybe that's just to take a look and sit with these authoritative figures in my life or in different situations. Do I feel like I'm less than because someone else thinks that they're more than, right? You know, like we all come across these people who think or who project out that they are superior to other people. We see it everywhere. And is that this feeling that's really challenging me? That thought of like someone else is trying to say I'm better than everyone else, and that's uncomfortable and it's frustrating and it makes me feel some type of way. So what I would do is I'd sit and journal about these things. I've kind of really dive into these two cards and then path work with it, right? Really see their environment, really kind of sit with them and explore these feelings. So I do this because afterwards, right, once I really sit and kind of use these as my markers for this deck, I usually set some special meanings to these cards on top of them being, you know, what they are. So the Queen of Wands and the Emperor, you know, I use them as kind of emotional markers. So when I see this, I know that she's going to be bringing me some sort of spark, some sort of joy, right? Some sort of kind of sly smile, something that makes me excited or happy. She is that for me. So this might not be the things that I use if I'm reading for other people with this deck, but when I'm reading for me, this is what that card is for me. Likewise, this card for me is going to be that feeling of like oppression, of unease and discomfort, like something is not quite right. And whenever I see this, I'm going to know whatever's around him, whatever precedes him or feeds off of him is just not quite right. So it has those like special meanings for me within the deck. So I take the time to do that and really kind of set myself up some personal cards for this deck, right? Personal cards, that starts that bond. Because whenever we see them in our spreads, it's like a light goes off, right? Within our hearts, within our heads, within our energy itself. It just kind of pops on, right? Like that light just kind of shows, and it gives me that immediate knowledge of what's going on in this spread. So as you can see, I can't even help myself. The next basic way to start bonding with your deck is shuffling. I can't even help myself. Card sitting in front of me, you gotta be kidding. I'm gonna shuffle. I'm gonna shuffle. And that's exactly what I do to just start bonding with the deck. I'll watch TV, sit at my desk and watch YouTube, and I will shuffle. Or I will light some candles. I'll sit here at my reading table and just kind of feel these cards out. Allow them to move in my hands. So as you can see, I like to riffle shuffle. I shuffle, but then I like to shuffle them in different ways because I really want to get a feel for all kinds of techniques with each deck, because I don't know about you guys, but like I'll have some decks where like I prefer to overhand shuffle. I'll do the long shuffle like these, because some decks, it just feels good in my hand, right? Whereas others, when I do just the regular overhand, I'll do this. This is where I also figure out if I want some flyers, right? Some cards that just kind of fly out. What, like this? Oh, look what it is! Yay! Oh my god, I love that. I'm gonna keep it right there. When I want flyers, how do I shuffle when I really want flyers to come out? So sometimes doing this will cause cards to fly out of the deck, but obviously this is my way to get flyers. So if I'm doing a spread and I'm asking a question and I'm like, I don't know how I want to set it, I just kind of want some flyers to come out, I will sit and shuffle that way. So it gives you a good feel of not only the card stock, but like the way the cards move, right? The way that they move and feel in your hand is important to know when using a deck, because I don't know about you, but like there are sometimes I'll get decks in my hand and I'm like, every time I touch them, they like move all kind of ways and I'm like, oh shit, and I'm trying to put them all together. It's like they want to slide out of my hand. I don't know them, right? I don't know how they feel. I don't know how they slip and slide. I don't know how they shuffle and move. So it's like I try and do all kinds of just like shuffling and spreading and just feeling the cards, and then I'll move my hands around and I'll choose cards out to see again how they move. Can I slip it out or do I get a trail? I want to know that, because that might have a lot to do with how I use the deck. Do I want to shuffle in reversals or not? I think about that as I'm shuffling, because that'll also depend on how I shuffle. Because if I want reversals, let me put my little boo back in here. If I want reversals, then sometimes I'll do the wash, and I will just twist and turn. Again, I want to get a feel for everything about this deck. I want to know how the cards move. Can I even pull from here? See, I pulled from here and it's like it wasn't tight. I didn't disturb anything else. They flowed really well, versus in a line, everything kind of moves together. So they're almost too rough to do it that way for me, but not too rough to do this. So then I'll get them all together, move them around, and just play around with your cards. What pops out when you do that? I had these, the Knave of Wands and the Eight of Swords reversed, right? So what does that mean? What are you feeling from these, right? For me, automatically, I felt like this Knave of Wands was talking to me about something coming in, right? But I'm being blocked by something else. That was my initial gut reaction. Okay, well, what's trying to come in that I'm blocking? What is this knave trying to bring in? What kind of messages are they trying to get here, but I'm blocking them, right? So I use this just to develop that bond, pull things out, let them pop up and flip over and work with that energy. Because that's how you bond with the deck. You just get to know it, you know the feel, you know the vibes, right? So again, sometimes I'll do this wash and kind of put them all back in and then give them a good shuffle again. Oh, we have another one come out. We have the Queen of Swords. Icy. She looks real serious. Then I cut the deck. How does it feel to cut it? But you see, again, I get to see how it moves. I want to know this deck. I want to know how it moves. There she is again. I want to feel the energy. And then I do it all over again. So that's my basic first steps. These are the things that I do right away to start learning my deck. So thanks for watching, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this little video. This is part 1. I do have a few parts. I don't know how many I'm going to kind of shove in here, but I have a list. And so I'm just going to steady go down and talk about all kinds of different ways, including spreads and deck interviews, character development, corresponding cards, all kinds of different ways to kind of really sink your teeth into your new deck. So I hope that you guys enjoy. Leave me some comments down below. Let me know what you think about these. What are your favorite ways? And I will see you guys very soon. I'm sending you all my love. Mwah! Later, Gators!